All right, it's Wednesday, July 22nd. We've got 5 games on the first 5 board that we want to run through with you here today. A little afternoon baseball as well. We'll start with the Athletics and Diamondbacks tied up out in the desert. We're going to go to the White Sox taking on the Rangers, who, those White Sox licking their wounds after last night. You got Detroit at the Cubs at Wrigley. You got the Cardinals down a couple of games and trying to stop the bleeding out in Anaheim, and of course the Rays and the Blue Jays in Toronto, with Tampa having it their way thus far. Hey, it's Joe Raineri, WagerTalk.com, so let's dive in to a couple of first 5 matchups here. Game 1, Athletics at those Diamondbacks, 3:40 Eastern time, with the Athletics sending Gage Jump to the mound. And the market's got this thing basically a coin flip in the first 5, which I think is a little funny because when you actually look up these two arms, this isn't even close. Arizona is asking you to swallow a 5.20 ERA like it belongs in a pick'em game. And if you look at Jump, his 3.78 ERA is real, and it's earned, by the way. He misses a ton of bats. He's hardly walks anybody. He's a legit mid-rotation arm for this Athletic team. I think he's got room to improve. And the first 5 is exactly where a guy like this does his best work before a lineup sees him a third time. Now, on the other side of Arizona, you've got Merrill Kelly and his 5.20 ERA, which already looks rough. And the underlying numbers say he's even worse than that. I mean, he's not missing bats. He's getting squared up. He's not striking anybody out anymore. And when you have an ERA that ugly, that still makes a guy look better than he actually is, that's the guy that you want to bet against. Now, neither lineup here jumps off the page against the hand that they are facing, especially over the last couple of weeks. The A's are right in the middle of the pack against righties. Arizona against lefties. Not a ton of sample here over the last couple of weeks, but the A's have been the hotter group at the plate. They've been averaging more than 6 runs a game. You got Jacob Wilson, you got Shea Langoliers right behind them. Arizona did barely win last night, 6-5, so I'm not calling their bats dead. They're just a middling offense here, and the matchups, they're pretty much even at this point here. And I'm sorry. I get Arizona here. Now, they won last night again, 10 innings, giving up the lead in the 9th inning, again with that bullpen. They are at home. It is kind of even money here. But, again, you're asking to trust a pitcher like Merrill Kelly with a 5.20 ERA with numbers that tell us he's even worse than that, going up against a younger, better pitcher who can miss bats. I can't do it, man. Even as bad as maybe the A's have been over the last month, give me Gage Jump. Give me the A's on the money line in the first 5. All right, let us head here to Arlington for game number 2. That's going to be the White Sox and the Rangers. And the White Sox, they're turning to Anthony Kay here tonight. And this thing comes down to one thing. The Rangers hammer left-handed pitching right now. They have been. And Kay is a lefty whose numbers are heading in the wrong direction. 4.24 ERA makes him look like he can hang, but the underlying metrics say he's closer to a low 5s ERA pitcher than anything else. He's been getting hit a lot harder than that ERA lets on. And Texas is going with an opener in Tyler Alexander, eventually going to give way to Cal Quantrill, who's been better than anyone has expected so far this season. Now, over the last couple of weeks, Texas has been one of the best lineups in baseball against left-handed pitching. Wyatt Langford's been crushing it. Nimmo is right there with him. And on the White Sox side, well, flip it. Against left-handed pitching the last couple of weeks, they've been one of the worst offenses in the league. Now, they scored 5 a game last week, sure, but that's not the number that matters tonight. Because against a lefty opener, who they are likely going to see for at least 2 innings, and they did just get crushed and run out of the building last night, 10-0. I don't know. I get a Texas lineup built to punish this exact split facing the lefty whose numbers say he's worse than what you might believe. Listen, Quantrill's a right-handed pitcher, but by the time he gets into the game, I think the Rangers, with the way they're swinging the bats, will likely already have runs on the board, and that's how I'm betting it. I'll take the Rangers in the first 5 on the money line in this spot. I like the matchup. I like the lineup better than what I'm going to get from the White Sox. I want nothing to do, by the way, full game bullpen with the Texas Rangers here. That bullpen is a hot mess. All right, we got a couple of more games that we want to get to. Before we do, want to ask you guys to hit that like and subscribe button, become part of this WagerTalk TV family. We certainly appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us here. And don't forget, drop me a comment below and tell me what your favorite first 5 pitching matchup is tonight on the card. Again, couple of afternoon games, couple of double headers coming your way, but we are going to head out to Wrigley here tonight for another one between the Tigers and the Cubs, because Colin Ray is taking the ball for the Cubs against this Detroit team, and this is a spot where I don't trust either starting pitcher, but I do trust both lineups to a certain degree, which usually points you in one direction. Now, Colin Ray, 4.74 ERA. He's not good to start with, and he's gotten worse as the season's gone on. In fact, the underlying metrics tell us he's not missing a lot of bats, and he doesn't have a ton of margin for error here. And Detroit, they're going to go back to old reliable Kiter Montero and his 3.22 ERA. Now, it looks good, but he's another bullpen arm, making his first start again in almost a month. This is kind of the role that he's taken on with Flaherty going to the IL. They call on him, and he has been really good in this spot. Now, the Cubs did just score a bunch of runs last night, and again, against right-handed pitching the last couple of weeks, they have been a top 6 offense. And over the last week, they've averaged 7 runs a game, with Suzuki and Nico Horner doing a ton of damage against bad starting pitching. Detroit, however, is no pushover, and they sit right around average against righties. But Dingler's been on an absolute heater, and Ray is exactly the kind of arm that you can get to early. So when you put it together, 2 righties you don't trust, one of them stretching out of the bullpen, 2 lineups that combined for 13 runs in this park yesterday, everything here is pointing to an over, and that is exactly what I'll be looking at. First 5 over, 4.5 or 5 in this one at Wrigley tonight. All right, we got another one here out west with the Angels hosting the Cardinals, and the Angels are sending Reed Detmers to the mound, and they opened up around minus 135 favorite in the first 5. And if anything, I think Detmers' ERA is hiding how good he's really been. I also think he is going to be wearing a different uniform in a couple of weeks, but that's a different story. Don't let the 4.16 ERA fool you. The underlying numbers say Detmer has pitched much like a guy in the upper 2s and low 3s ERA. Misses a ton of bats. He does not walk anybody. Last time out, he threw 6 scoreless before his own bullpen coughed it up. Shocker. So his ERA, I think, is selling him short, and that's good because that's usually what the market follows with. Now, St. Louis is going with Hunter Dobbins. He's got a 4.03 ERA, which makes him look better than he's been because the underlying numbers, north of 5. Now, he was already on the IL to start the season. He's bounced back and forth on that. His last Major League Baseball start was 15 days ago. He has had 1 rehab start in Memphis since. That was 3 1/3 innings, 4 earned, 4 walks. And St. Louis, by the way, against lefties the last couple of weeks, actually a bit above middle of the road here. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they can't touch Detmers, but over the last week, they've scored just under 4 runs a game. They have dropped the first 2 of this series, and they've lost 4 of their last 5. And the Angels, well, bottom 3rd against righties the last couple of weeks. They, too, having trouble scoring runs, barely over 2 a game over the last 7 days. So, listen, here's where I could be wrong. If you just want to lay the price with the Angels, their offense has been quiet, but they have done a pretty good job in the first 2 games here. Detmers, by the way, full game has already gotten burned by his bullpen once here. Not what I am going to look to do. The reality is I trust Detmers. I don't trust the Cardinals offense. So I'd rather back Detmers doing the work and take the St. Louis Cardinals team total under through the first 5. All right, we've got one more game I want to get to here and cover with you with the Rays and the Blue Jays. Before we do that, I do want to let you know I have my very first 5% max bet top play of the Major League Baseball season up and available for you at WagerTalk.com. I do not post a lot of these throughout the season. 162 game season, guys, 30 teams, do the math. This is a grinded out kind of sport here. I do not throw 5% up just to throw them up. There has got to be a compelling reason. And yes, I've got a game tonight with a compelling reason to hop on board with this. So head over to my page, wt.buzz/JR. Pick yourself up that very first 5% max bet top play of the Major League Baseball season, available to you right now over at WagerTalk.com. Do not miss this one here tonight as we get ready to head to Toronto in our final first 5 game of this video. We're going to be talking about Griffin Jax going for the Rays. And this one is interesting because the Blue Jays can't hit water if they fell out of a boat right now. And you've got a Tampa team who has been one of the hotter lineups in Major League Baseball. But Jax's numbers, 4.08 ERA, looks fine on the surface. But when you dive into the numbers underneath, he has been a good bit worse. Yes, he does miss some bats. But when contact comes, it's loud. In fact, his last game was not great. He gave up 7 runs versus Boston. It is overdue regression as far as I'm concerned. And the regression signs are still there for him in this spot. Now, Toronto is going with an opener here in Braden Fisher, another bullpen arm getting stretched into a start here. He recently coming off the bereavement list. They will follow up with him, Spencer Miles, who's a really good bulk reliever, 3.22 xERA, nearly a 55% ground ball rate, which is huge. And the good news for Toronto is that their bullpen is fresh after last night's blowout loss. So they'll have a lot of different arms and matchups that they can coordinate in this game here tonight. Now, Tampa, again, against right-handed pitching, last couple of weeks has been a top 7 offense. Caminero, Victor Mesa, they've been crushing it. Toronto's the complete opposite. They are well below average against righties over the last couple of weeks. In fact, over just the last 7 days, they're averaging under 2 runs a game. They have been abysmal. They've lost 4 of 5. So, yes, Tampa's got the better lineup. But they are also facing a pitcher that has got big-time regression coming his way still. And I see them having some success against. They're at home. They're desperate for a win here. I think there's a reason why Tampa is not a minus 130 or 140 favorite here on the road. It's more like a pick 'em price. They're a slight favorite here. So I'm going to back the home dog in this one. I think Tampa is not a great road team. We know this. And I think the Jays can score early in this one and then line up the bullpen any which way they want. So I'm going to go contrarian in this one. I'm going to take the Blue Jays on the money line in the first 5. And there you got it. There's our first 5 lists here for today for Wednesday, July 22nd. Don't forget, wt.buzz/JR. That is how you get directly to my page at wagertalk.com. Very first, 5%. Max bet top player of the Major League Baseball season. Guys, we're over 72% on these 5% max bets over the last 365 days. I do not put these out there just to put them out there. There is always a big edge and a big reason behind why these plays come out, especially in Major League Baseball. So hop on board. Let's partner up. Let's cash a couple of tickets here tonight. I do have a best bet free play as well at my page at wagertalk.com. And don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button. Become part of this Wager Talk TV family. And drop me a comment below. Tell me which one of these pitching matchups do you like the most in the first 5 here tonight. Again, thank you guys for taking the time to hang with us. Hope you'll come back and join us again tomorrow for another edition of First 5 here on Wager Talk TV. Good luck.